It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I am the world-traveling Gary Groob here in Toronto, just freshly in from San Diego from checking out the Worlds, and man, what a great tournament that's been, and we're going to get to that in a bit. With me, of course, I have, as always, Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw this week. Moose Jaw, right, Shawn?
Yep, this week Moose Jaw, yeah, back home.
We all move around, so you really got to keep those Apple tags, you know where we are at all times. And, of course, we have Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. How are you, Mike?
I've gone nowhere.
We could get T-shirts made on that one, too. I'm Mike, and I've gone nowhere. But he's doing well in Connecticut. So we'll leave it at that. It's great to see you guys. It's great to be seen. We're very happy that all of you can join us again, as you do every week. Oh, man, we have a lot to cover. And, wow, like I said, that tournament, well, it got a bit roasted, it's chicken's about done, It is warm in San Diego, as attested to by the players there. Now, when they were asked what they were doing about San Diego, very simple.
Favorite part about San Diego?
San Diego? I mean, definitely the weather. The weather's great. There's the beautiful weather. The weather's pretty good.
Warm weather.
Great weather. Great weather.
So the weather's nice. The weather's beautiful.
The weather's nice.
I've got some incredible tan lines already. It's a great weather.
The weather's incredible.
This weather.
It's sunny. The warm weather. The weather.
The weather's beautiful.
The weather.
Yeah, I just really like, I can really be a dude around here. It's great.
Probably the weather.
Only one guy got to be different, right?
Yeah. Got to be a dude, right?
Got to be a dude. But yeah, man, it was beautiful. Gorgeous. Well, it's funny because it starts so cool in the morning. You're thinking, man, I may need a coat. And then, of course, by 10 o'clock, is there bacon being cooked? Oh, no, it's me. It's warm, man. And especially in the canyons and on the fields, it's hot, and there's no shade anywhere, really. 4 or 5 fields that they're using, and I couldn't find much shade around anywhere. You see a few of us hovering behind a pole that had light stand, so we can try and get a little bit out of the sun for a minute or two. The bigger stadium, at least down by the end zones, there were places so I could kind of escape there. And then, of course, by the time this goes down, which is about now, going towards their 7 p.m. games, then it started getting cool. Then it's like, oh my God, I gotta find my coat again. So it's weird, but great weather, man. It was dry. Everybody's really cool out there, very friendly, very happy to help. And it was run and is being run great. I got to give World Lacrosse all the props in the world because most everything was taken care of, and things that weren't taken care of, they were right on to try and fix, if not have answers immediately. Emails will be coming around, and lots of communication, lots of what's about to happen, what you need, and where you need to be. And it's been a tremendous experience. I am definitely looking forward to doing it again because it's just so well run, and to see a lot of these programs just way up there. Yes, it's in tiers, and I don't mean tiers like this. It's in tiers. You have the upper echelon, obviously, and then there is a drop off to the other ones. But some of those teams, man, they're going to be up there real fast. Team Israel is very, very impressive in my eyes. Team Japan is very, very impressive in my eyes. Team Japan especially. They're fast. They can score a lot. Team Israel has got great defense. They got a couple of really great players. Nathaniel Solomon that comes to mind, just dominating, and their goaltending is fantastic. Bill Baroza runs that team, and he's been a guest of mine on the other show, and Bill's a friend of mine, and hopefully we'll have him on this show as well as the other one again, because he's got another company as well, which has got some sporting stuff to help training. So we'll get him talking about his lacrosse stuff and it should be fantastic. But I got a couple of pictures of him coming up in the next little bit. Let's just get the network stuff out of the way so that we can get on with we have junior to cover, both East and West. We have OSL. We didn't have PLL, obviously, because 98% of them are playing in this tournament. But we have, of course, we have the MSL and WLA to cover as well. But just remember that all of our shows are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. And you can catch all the action at eopsports.com. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons, and always share with friends, family, people down the street, anybody else that you might know or don't know, or, wrong number. Doesn't matter. Enjoy all of our affiliates. Also, as you can see, we have plenty of shows for everybody every day of the week. Broad Street Bully Podcast, Philly Press Box Radio, Edge of Philly Sports Live, Bird's Eye Q, Patterson Avenue Fanatics, Talking Philly Sports with Matty B, Devereaux Sports, The Painted Lines, and Party on Broad. And if you missed a show, no worries. You can grab the podcast on all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and so much more. And also you can catch it on the EOP YouTube page at EOP Sports on YouTube. Or if you're looking for our show in particular, you can grab that at All Across All the Time YouTube page. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting EOPsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. And while you're there, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you're looking for a place to grab a drink, Dolan's is your place to go. 24 East Sellers Avenue in Ridley Park. Music, great times, usually memorabilia giveaways. Dolansbar.com if you want to check it out. But really, get your butts over to 24 East Sellers Avenue. Tell them the EOP boys sent you and have a drink with the boys. Sherry's Ticket Town. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less and play more with Sherry'sTickets.com. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need more of a personal touch, you can give them a call, 610-494-5050, or visit their office at 1382 Nauman's Creek Road, Suite 1, Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, don't overpay with the rest, save with the best. Sherry'sTickets.com, and save 10% by using the promo code EOP10. Philly Sports Trips at PhillySportsTrips.com. They are working on a bunch of Eagle stuff at the moment, but if you go on there now, there are deals for the Phillies and deals for the Union to check them out. Remember that at PhillySportsTrips.com. If you have any legal issues, David R. Cherry Esquire and his firm, the Cherry Firm, would be more than happy to try and give you a hand. Workers' comp claims, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal law, you can go to www.cherryinjurylaw.com or give them a call at 610-565-0300 and tell them the EOP boys sent you. It is coming up very quickly, guys, and that is the McDougall Celebrity Lacrosse game over at the Rock Athletic Center. That is on July 8th. That's only a couple of weeks away. It is a full day of events, which include a paperweight tournament, the OJLL Rob McDougall Cup, the Under-11 Battle of Burlock, and, of course, the big one, the Celebrity Lacrosse game. Extras there is a silent auction, Camry's Brewery Beer Garden, food, 50-50, live music, only $10 to get in. All kids 12 and under get in for free. All proceeds will be donated to Kids Sport Ontario. # so all kids can play. Worthwhile, definitely. Remember some of the guests that have been there in the past and probably be coming around this year. Is John Tavares of the Leafs have been there and played. Brian Shanahan has played, as well as Don Cherry being there with the opening faceoff. 2 weeks after that, we have the Fan Cup. And if you haven't heard of it, you should hear of it. The motto there is win or lose, we drink the booze. It's the kind of style of play you're going to get. But we have a lot of really great fans from all over the NLL getting together, and it's in different cities every year. This year it happens to be in Oakville at the track, and raising money for Oakville Minor Lacrosse, Smile Zone, and one of the Haudenosaunee charities there as well. So it's well worthwhile to come by. There's lots of great stuff at the auction. There will be alcohol, there will be food, and there will be a lot of entertaining lacrosse. Notice how I didn't say skilled. Just a couple of bits of news pieces. In Rochester, we've got Mike Hazen and Patty O'Toole re-signed. And Calais has been elevated to an assistant coach because Gavin Prout is not returning. Interesting times over in Rochester. Superman Curtis Dixon has re-signed with the Seals. And we had a trade in the OJLL before their deadline. The big name there is Deacon Knott is going to Burlington. as well as Zach Thompson and Ben Trumbull. And in return, Peterborough is getting Cole Gervais, McCumber, and a second-round pick in 2027. An injury to speak of was Tohoku. He was walking around there with a foot boot. So he obviously is not playing in the tournament, but with the team. And with him being out, Eli McLaughlin had been elevated to the team and is doing a really good job in replacement of. All right, guys, before we get on to the Worlds, let's look at a little bit of
Now we lose Gary.
Oh, well, that's scary. I'm not sure where he was going with that.
Technical difficulties. I think it was probably going to do Ontario Juniors, but
Juniors.
I guess if you want to jump in with
I can jump on with
the West Coast Juniors.
BC Juniors at least. Well, I guess we start with Tuesday night. Westminster Salmon Bellies had a 14-6 win over the Burnaby Lakers. Next night, the Lakers. Oh,
Hey, I'm back.
hey, he's back.
Sorry, go ahead, Sean. You go do the West
I'll
Juniors.
just keep
Because
doing the
God
BC
knows what my
Juniors.
internet's doing here.
Anyways, we just went through Tuesday night with Salmon Bellies defeating the Lakers. Next night, the Lakers came back with the win, 16-12 over the Delta Islanders. Thursday, the first place Coquitlam Adnax went 12-7 victory over the Langley Thunder. Friday night, heading into the weekend, Port Coquitlam Saints picked up a 12-4 win over the Salmon Bellies. And then Saturday, we had a bit of an upset. The Victoria Shamrocks were 10-8 winners over the Adnax. We'll get into the standings a little bit here to see how that's kind of shaping up now. And Langley Thunder picked up a 6-4 win over the Islanders. And then this afternoon, we saw the Nanaimo Timbermen take a 13-8 win over the Port Coquitlam Saints. And the Victoria Shamrocks were 15-9 winners over the Westminster Salmon Bellies. So with the standings, like I mentioned, the Adnax have quite a healthy lead. That's why it's a bit of an upset at 14-3. The Shamrocks are right behind them in second at 11-5. Third place, you got the Timbermen at 9-6. Then you have a battle for fourth place. You have a battle for fourth place with the Timbermen at 9-6 and the Saints at 9-6-1. And I know Gary will get to the OJLL right away, but obviously this is all preparation for not only the Man Cup, but we have the World Juniors coming up here in Saskatoon in early August, and hopefully I'll be there for all the coverage right here with All Across All the Time.
And the Minto Cup should be out west as well. So
Minto Cup. I'm sorry, that's what I meant by Minto Cup.
Well, the Man Cup's out west also, so you guys got all the fun this year. Pack your bags, dude. It's your turn. Anyways, with the OJLL, let's see, I can still do it, so I'm good here. Just to go through the scores while I'm still here. We had the Whitby Warriors losing to Peterborough 9-6. The St. Catharines Athletics 9-7 winners over Whitby. Toronto Beaches 13-4 over Peterborough. Orangeville still undefeated, winning 13-7 over Mimico. Burlington 16-11 over Six Nations. St. Catharines again winning over the Oakville Buzz. They've fallen down a little bit. The Brampton Excelsior is picking it up. 12-9 winners over Kitchener-Waterloo. Moving to the 22nd, we had Oakville beating Whitby 10-9 in a nail-biter. We had the Toronto Beaches beating Burlington 15-7. Mimico beat Brampton 11-5. Peterborough winners over Kitchener 13-11. It was 9-8, a narrow victory for Six Nations over St. Catharines on the 24th. And the 25th, today, we have gotten so far Six Nations beating Kitchener 16-11. Orangeville again winning 18-8 over Whitby. And Burlington winning 11-3 over Brampton. Having a look at the standings. Of course, Orangeville 13-0. Just a juggernaut. Oakville's 10-5. Burlington running just behind them at 9-5. Mimico at 8-5. Toronto Beaches 8-7. St. Catharines, Whitby, Six Nations, Brampton, Peterborough, and Kitchener with their lone victory on the bottom. Moving over to the Ontario Series Lacrosse, where games are like football scores with the rock. Well, they beat on the James Gang 10-4. The Brooklyn Merchants beat Six Nations 11-8. Clearview they had tied Six Nations 14-14. It was 12-11 for Owen Sound over the Ennismore James Gang. The last two games, we haven't got scores yet. They're still underway. And if we look at the standings, you'll see that for the playoffs, we already have the four teams already in there, and that is Oakville, Brooklyn, Six Nations, and Owen Sound, and all the playoffs are best 3 out of 5. Clearview and Ennismore are out. All right, let's talk a little bit about the World Lacrosse Championships. First of all, I want to get into the kind of the who's who that was there, and right off the hop in the opening ceremonies, after of course all the teams in and the speeches, and you of course had Mark Riccio, who is the CEO of USA Lacrosse, giving his speech, as well as some of the other leaders there. Chief Oren Lyons is there. It was great to talk to him for a few minutes before the Haudenosaunee game. Joe Tsai, owner of the Seals, and of course, part owner of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs, Brooklyn Nets, and probably 200 million other things. Rex Lyons, who is one of the leaders of the Haudenosaunee team. Bill Baroza, we had talked about earlier. He is the gentleman on the left with his goalie. Both fantastic guys. Just great to talk to him. And filmmaker Joanne Storkin, who was team there with Larson Sundown. She was there as well, and it was great to catch up with Joanne. Our first game was a marquee game. It was over at Snapdragon Stadium, the new football stadium for the San Diego State Aztec. And what a gorgeous place, 35,000 seats. And they had a good crowd there. It was Canada versus the U.S. in what everybody's talking about is the precursor to what the finals will be. And, let's not leave the Haudenosaunee out, because they are a hell of a team. And, they gave the U.S. all they could handle last night. The game was kind of bland. It looked like they were just kind of, feeling each other out and figuring out. Because of the PLL over the last couple of years with smaller fields, 2-point goal lines, shot clocks, and all the other things, which are now gone. It made for an entirely different viewing of a game. To remember that there's no shot clock and you can actually fiddle around if you can for 2-3 minutes with the ball, and watching skilled teams pass it all over the place, while the other team, it was kind of like playing monkey in the middle, when we were kids, with a lacrosse ball and stick. So, the skilled teams really have an advantage when it comes to that, which is why having a shot clock, good. Not having a shot clock, bad. And it doesn't make for great TV viewing either. So I know I got a lot of comments about that, and to make sure that the lines were clear for TV, because that got a little bit murky also. I imagine by the finals it'll be quite clear. And all the other fields which were turfed, you can see it beautifully. It was 7-5 for the U.S. As a final. Like I say, I think the only thing was near the end of the game, you started getting calling cards, and just little memories of, yeah, we're still here, don't worry. So it got a little heated with the final few seconds, but that came and went, so there wasn't a whole lot. But I want to show a couple of little small things just about the tournament itself. We'll start off with the opening of San Diego, and here you go.
It's sunny San Diego, California, and Snapdragon Stadium. It's a global showcase for the sport of lacrosse. A short while ago, opening ceremonies took place, and we saw the world of lacrosse gather here in Southern California, from the Haudenosaunee to Jamaica to the Peruvians. A true global showcase for the sport of lacrosse.
Yeah, it's as good as it looks there, really, and then some. And the way it's set up is easy to get to. Tickets are easy to get to if you don't have them already from online. To get them, merch is easy to get. All bunch of things. Like I said, I got this really cool jersey from there. It has Canada on the back, so they'll custom do it for you. Each team has their own booths, so you can sell their own merch. I picked up a bunch of Haudenosaunee stuff as well, and they gave me the cool little bracelet to go with it. Few things that were there. If we look at the way things are right now, standing wise, and this is as of this morning, because obviously the games aren't finished today. USA was in first place, plus 11 differential. Haudenosaunee is in second place at a plus 12 differential, but only 1 point. Australia was in there with 1 point. Canada is sitting there with a this is even beforehand, before the other game. Oh, yeah, sorry. Because of the original one, this was after the first night. Dan Arestia did this one on Twitter. So the things have changed a little bit with Haudenosaunee losing to the U.S. Canada and Haudenosaunee play tonight, which is a pivotal game on how this plays, because both of them are sitting at 1-1, as the U.S. is sitting at 3-0. Right. Australia, I think the goalie went in for counseling after the last couple of days, because the Australia team, I don't know what they did to the schedule maker, but when you get the Haudenosaunee on your first game and U.S. on your second game, yes, you need therapy by the time you finished, because and a half, and the first and Haudenosaunee when they did it with it was USA and Canada were the two games that Australia played, so another kicking. But the Haudenosaunee, they played England in their first game and they beat them 18-6 or 18-5. It was not close. It was a clinic, is what it was. Austin Stotts, I think, is leading the tournament with 11 goals. He's been amazing up there. I've got a couple of clips here just to take a look at some of the stuff. We're going to start the first one off with the ever popular hidden ball trick.
Thing as they go with the hidden ball trick, and they got it. Clip it for Slaght. The hidden ball trick works for the Czech Republic. And the legend Slaght will slot it home from distance. Oh, beautiful stuff there. It doesn't work often, but when it does, it is pretty to watch. See it again here on the replay. The little flip. And goaltender hook, line, and sinker as from the restraining line into the back of the cage.
Funny, only the back cameraman caught it. Everybody else moved.
He sold it so well, didn't he?
It was beautiful. Yeah, nobody had until you heard ting in the back, and it was a gorgeous shot from the restraining line. Talking about gorgeous shots, the next one is USA against Haudenosaunee, and it's Michael Sowers.
Sowers dodges on a short stick, gets top side. Sowers!
The footwork was ridiculous.
You say if you sneeze, you miss this stuff. It's just wow.
It's
and of
there.
course, what would I do to have that beat? I would take a clip from Canada against Australia.
Dixon gets a step underneath, swinging around for the score. Superman goes airborne with 13.5.
Who hasn't seen that before? just amazing. Eduardo's with us. Eduardo, how are you?
Hey, Eduardo.
You're feeling a little bit better? We're hoping you're well.
Yeah.
I've made it in flights and everything like that, and a lot safer than you're making it in cars. So I have figured out that a lot of our airports are not very good. My favorite was when I had to check my carry-on luggage on the way back that I was able to keep on the plane on the way up. Whatever. Anyways, what would be equal to those couple of goals? Well, let's get a Lyle Thompson goal.
To shoot from 8 yards and in. Thompson has a look. Thompson scores!
That's nasty. And I think about how crazy you have to be a goalie. Never mind box, but to be a goalie here, are you nuts? And I'm watching some of the greatest stuff and some of the quickest hands, and watching Warren Hill laugh at guys when they're shooting at him, literally laughing at them when he shoot. It's hilarious. And then you got Reardon, who will keep his mouth going all game long too. It's funny, and you try and talk to a goalie after the game. Hey man, how's it going? We're see you again. It's gone because calling all the switches and calling all the moves and who's open and who's not. They do some pretty incredible stuff. And we've seen all the goals, but I want to show one heck of a save that was a goalie and his crossbar. Notice he didn't go down. He made a foot save. It went off the crossbar. It went out, and he was ready for the next shot. Not ready for therapy just yet. That was the Australian.
Yeah.
Poor guy. We had history being made. Now, we've talked about the Uganda program. We've talked about this is the first time that any African country has qualified for the Worlds. The last time around, Peru was the big one, and I talked to the Peruvian people, and it's like they're coming close now. They're coming close to grabbing wins. I think they'd lost when I had left 2 games, both by a goal each, and damn good games. I had a chance to watch one of them. They're up and coming, so have no fear. But their first goal in history, here it is.
Center now, Yusuf Ngawe. Ngawe gets inside, keeps it. Yusuf Ngawe scores! And a little stern of the pot feeding the boys.
That's one of the best celebration things I've ever seen.
Love the celebration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even the ladle in. Here you go.
Yeah. Feed the boys. Yeah.
That was amazing. That's a good goal too.
Yeah, and kudos to them for it's a big moment.
They haven't had
a huge moment for them.
They haven't had an easy time, guys. Let me just pull up something here. Their first game, they lost 18-0 to Japan. They just took a butt kicking, but they're smiling. They're so happy to be there. I've seen them outside of Snapdragon Stadium the first night after the Canada-US game and the opening ceremonies, and they're dancing away on the steps and out front and just having a great old time of their lives. This might be the first time they ever got out of where they were, and they're just living it and taking it all in. Absolutely the way this is supposed to be. And like I say, they lost 18-0 on Friday as their first game, and they didn't seem any worse for wear. They played France the next day, and they lost 13-5, and we saw one of the goals there. They had another rough one today where they played Wales and lost 17-4. But again, you have to build from somewhere, right? So
it's a learning experience for them, right? Like
this is exactly they're getting their bearings on what's going on. You got a team like Team Israel who's been there for a while now, and they're 3-0 now. But Team Philippine also had a couple wins under their belt now as well. They beat the Czech Republic today 10-4. Italy's had done really well, and they beat Scotland today 15-5. Germany, who I expected to do fairly well, they were winning 16. They won 16-4 today, and Hong Kong beat Austria 9-6. So again, your big ones are coming. Japan, we're talking about what a juggernaut they are. Well, they beat Denmark 23-3. Wow. The U.S. Torpedoed England was 18-1. Now remember, goal differential matters in this thing, and I don't think anybody's getting close to these guys when it comes to this. Poland beat New Zealand 11-7. Coming up is Ireland and Peru. It comes up in half an hour. Latvia against the Korean Republic, and of course, the game of the night is Canada versus the Haudenosaunee. It'll be on ESPN and on TSN, and if you have availability to either of them, by all means, please check it out. You will not be disappointed at all. One more little clip just to show a little bit of sense of humor between Latvia and Ireland. And I was at this game, and it was funny.
And during this entire scrum, And Aglitas going for the Academy Award.
Well, you might as well play like you were shot, right?
Yeah.
Just try and draw that penalty.
It also fails, play dead.
Mhm. Now, for anybody who thinks about just how tough a game this could be, I know that this clip had been going around a little bit, and I thought, why not play it for everybody? Wayne Gretzky, the great one, of course, of hockey fame, and now, of course, as an owner of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs with Joe Tsai, Dustin Johnson, and Steve Nash. He was talking on a talk show about lacrosse.
I didn't realize that in the United States, the sport of Canada is actually lacrosse, not ice hockey, which is pretty amazing to think about.
Did that help you with your mitts growing up?
Yeah, immensely. I played all the way till I was 15, and he's from the same hometown I'm from, and lacrosse was huge there. And I remember at 15 years old, I quit, and somebody said to me, "Why'd you quit?" I said, "It's the roughest sport I've ever played." I had enough.
I gotta go back where it's safe.
Yeah, play hockey. Yeah, exactly.
Got to go back where it's safe.
When hockey's safe. Yeah.
Remember that.
Hockey is safe compared to lacrosse.
Yeah. Just thought I'd throw that one in there just to a little context to it. Upcoming, we got some pretty cool things also. On Monday, we have France versus Wales, Austria versus Italy, Jamaica versus New Zealand in the early games. Mexico against Hong Kong. Israel against the Czech Republic is going to be a great game. These are the 1 o'clock games, Pacific time. Netherlands against Latvia. We move to the 4 o'clock games, which is 7 o'clock Eastern, is Australia against Haudenosaunee. Denmark against Uganda. That may even be a chance for Uganda to put a W in there. Very possible. Those programs are in and around the same. Peru against the Korea Republic. Philippines against Sweden as a 7 o'clock game. Poland against Switzerland, another 7 o'clock game. And at Torero Stadium, you have Canada against England in the late game as well. So great games ahead. After that, you start getting into placements. Placements and playoff games, which start Tuesday and work their way up until you have the bronze medal game on Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific. And the gold medal game, which is 4 p.m. Pacific, over at Snapdragon Stadium. Again, beautiful stadium. My God. Brand new. And it's going to have the soccer team in there as well when they have that going. And the San Diego State football team. The Aztecs playing there. Fantastic place. But let's get ourselves over to a little bit of WLA action. And, while you guys do that, of course, I'll be over there with a turf monster. By the way, we won't be seeing much more of this. The Toronto Rock have broken ties with the Newark Brewing Company. So for all intents and purposes, bye-bye. We'll go back to my Czech beer. My Pilsner Urquell, which is sitting on ice waiting for me after I'm done, while I'm watching the Canada Haudenosaunee game, which will be on pretty much just after we finish. Well, it'll have started, but we'll be finished then. But let's get into WLA stuff, guys.
All right. I'll start because I think there was another Sunday game. Yes. So this time I'm prepared this week for last Sunday's game to recap. We had Nanaimo visiting Maple Ridge, and Timbermen come away with an 11-8 victory. The usual suspects for Nanaimo: Zach Mans, 3 goals, 4 assists. John Phillips, 1 and 4. You had Taggart Clark and Kyle Plaisted each had 2 goals, 2 assists. Nathan Grennan, who's come over to WLA this year, a pair of goals. And Justin Getty, 42 saves in the win. For Maple Ridge, you had Ryan Jones with 2 and 2. Dylan McIntosh and Garrett Winter with 2 and 1, and Joel Watson with 39 saves. And for Maple Ridge, I'm kind of seeing what I'm kind of seeing just from the box scores is, if all their, guys aren't on, they seem to be struggling. They seem to not get kind of these big like breakout type games, where one player goes off for a sock trick or something like that. Which, it has its pros and cons. It's definitely, obviously team game. So getting everyone to chip in, but it almost feels like they kind of need everyone to chip in every night in order to contend at this point. So, hopefully they can turn things around. I mean, it was nice to see them open the season with 2 wins, but, now they're running on a 6 or 7 game winless streak, other than the tie they managed against Victoria last week. So hopefully they can find a way to turn it around second half of the season.
All right, that brings us to the Tuesday game where Langley once
Langley.
again is a winner, 10-9 over the Adanacs.
Not by much, yeah.
Oh, they are missing a couple of big pieces, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it later because they have one real big piece missing with the Worlds right now. But at least for this game, actually, it was interesting because Nathaniel Koznaikov went into the lineup on Tuesday night and made an immediate impact with Langley with 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. Again, Robert Church as well with 2 goals and 3 assists. So you're getting your main characters scoring. Connor Robinson also had 2 goals, 3 assists as well. So you had 3 guys with 5 points. Dane Dobie, of course, with 4, but then it kind of drops off after that. So you kind of wonder if they kind of got everything kind of stacked, those top tier guys, but after that, you don't really have much secondary scoring, which you kind of wonder about. Again, you have Frank Chiliano in goal, stopped 38 of 47 in the win. For the Adanacs, Chase McIntyre had 5 assists. Brett McIntyre had 3 assists. And Adam Noakes had 3 assists. And then you got hat tricks from Jalen Chaster and Vinny Ricci, and 2 goals by Clark Walter.
And Chiliano was the player of the week, too, for week 4.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, he's definitely definitely holding strong in the net for Langley.
That should make a lot of Seals fans breathe easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we saw it last year too with Chiliano, though he kind of dropped off. I mean, It's a little bit of a different game, right? Because you got the bigger wooden stick in WLA, the bigger net, smaller equipment, stuff like that. But it's a little bit of a different game once you head over to the NL.
It is. Can't argue with that.
Yeah. Hey, Grant. Welcome.
Grant.
3-0. Yes, the Jamaican lacrosse team. Yeah, man. And they're a bunch of big boys, too, man. I've seen them all iced up after their game when I was watching the Czech Republic a couple of days ago. And, yeah, very friendly guys. But, yeah.
I saw a few big hits from those guys. They're tough.
Yeah, they are.
And they do have some wings and NLL representation with Marcus Minichiello on the team. So,
yep, exactly. Like I say, the one that got me was Team Israel is 3-0 too. So there's some great programs that are coming along really nicely. That's like awesome. I can't wait to watch what's coming up in the future, because if they're doing this now and really with not a lot of NLL, PLL help, it's amazing to see these guys up and coming. Just like when I was at the Rubeski tournament and saw the stuff with some of the European box, and watching these programs develop and learn, it's just what like hockey was back in the 80s. And the teams like Finland, the teams like, well, Sweden were always decent, but they started really moving upper echelon to the point that they were winning these tournaments. And it wasn't a surprise anymore. That's what I'm waiting to see, because then it'll become very interesting. And it's coming at the right time, because if we're starting to do it now, by the time 2028 rolls around in the Olympics and everybody's learning sixes at the same time, so there is no unfair advantage, we should see some really interesting stuff by the time the Olympics roll around.
Yeah, should make for some great competition.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's move over to the Wednesday night game, and that was the Thunder against the Burrards. They won by a little bit bigger of a margin,
A
but
little
not
bit
much.
bigger. Yeah, and as I kind of foreshadowed there, of course, Langley's without Curtis Dixon for this game as he's over in the Worlds. But yeah, they still pulled out the 11-7 victory. Big night for Connor Robinson as he kind of stepped it up with 4 goals. Robert Church became more of a playmaker as well as Dane Dobie with 4 assists for Church, 3 for Dobie. Tristan Kirkham had a pair of goals as well as Koznikov, a couple of goals. So again, making a mini impact there. Over for the Berards, hat trick with Garrett Winter. Caden Dowdy had a pair of goals, and Ryan Jones had a goal and assist. Again, as Mike kind of mentioned with Maple Ridge, I mean, they had kind of 2 guys that really kind of had 5 of their 7 goals, really. Unless it's a whole team effort, they're going to have difficulties moving on. As I kind of mentioned before the season, are they as bad as they were last year? I think they're a better team than they were. And themselves are already showing with their 2 wins, but there's still some holes to be filled.
Alrighty. That brings us over to the Thursday night game. The Salmon Bellies and the Lakers. Bellies pick up another win.
Yeah, let me get my Salmon Bellies and Lakers. Yeah, 8-3. And this was a goaltenders duel. 103 shots between the 2 teams. 53 for the Salmon Bellies and 50 for Lakers, and yet there's only 11 goals scored between the 2 of them. So both goaltenders were standing on their heads. Cam McLeod only 2 goals against on 47 saves, and Keegan Melnichuk for the Lakers. Only 8 goals against on 54 shots. So even when Keegan took that loss, I mean, he was facing a lot of rubber. So yeah, give him credit for even just giving up 8 goals.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. We moved to another close one with the Bellies, and they beat the Shamrocks. My poor Shamrocks, man. What's wrong with my Shamrocks? They lost 8-7 to the Bellies Friday night.
Yeah, a bit of a rough stretch that they're going through, but New Westminster gets into keeps pace with Langley basically with the win. Stars came out for the Bellies. Hayden Dixon 3-2, Kevin Crowley a goal and 4 assists. Jordan McBride 1-4 as well, and gotta keep mentioning because he's probably the biggest pickup in the WLA this year. I'd say is Ryan Martell, another 2 goals for New Westminster, and then the other story obviously with them, Neil Tyak, 36 saves. He's now 5-0 in his starts. So for Victoria, Patrick Dodds a goal and 3 assists. Brad McCulley 2-1. Marshall King had 2 goals. Cole Pickup had 2 goals. Cam Dunkerley 40 saves in the loss. So
I was going to say, Mike, how do you like that stable with New West? Because Cam McLeod had a huge night the night before, facing a ton of rubber and only allowed 3. And then you got Tyak in there as well. I mean, flip either one of them and you're going to have a rough night.
Yeah. And that's why, we're going to talk about, we'll talk about some of next week's games, but obviously the big one is going to be the heavyweights there.
Yeah.
Playing Langley and New West next Thursday. So, and that'll be for first place. And I think it was one of the first games of the year Langley beat New Westminster. So, and with these guys playing each other 3 times, it's going to be a huge game for New West. If they can pull it off. They can even the season series, and I think the last game will also be in New Westminster. So they basically get 2 home games to finish with Langley.
Well, my Shamrocks fell on their face again the next night, losing to the Lakers 10-9.
Yeah, and this was this was actually that game. it was supposed to be, so the game was played in the Q Center, and Victoria actually played 2 consecutive nights, at home, but technically they were not the home team. This game was supposed to be played in Port Alberni, but it had to get relocated because of the wildfires, unfortunately, and just the uncertainty with the travel. So, hopefully the WLA can find a way to get back out there and kind of, show off the sport to, some more, because I believe that location is like west of Nanaimo. So they're kind of getting out to the other side of Vancouver Island, where people may not get a chance to kind of see, the talent and the action.
Sure.
So, but the game gets relocated to the Q Center in Victoria, but Burnaby, as the home team in Victoria's home, comes out with a 10-9 win. So Victoria, drops 2 this week, and now they're 4-3-1, I believe. So, and boy, that tie could really make or break them now. That tie they had with Maple Ridge, where they had the lead and allowed Maple Ridge to kind of sneak back in with some late heroics. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them in the rear end. For Victoria, Cole Pickup had a hat trick. Brian Robb had 2 goals. Pete Dubensky, 41 saves in the loss. For Burnaby, Jacob Dunbar continuing his stellar WLA campaign this summer, 2-4. Torrin Eccleston had 2 and 3, including the game winner in overtime. Ben Stewart, 2 goals and an assist, and Milenachuk, who's he's facing a lot of rubber this year too. So 47 saves in the win.
Yeah. We have one game going on as we're speaking, and that's Nanaimo and Burnaby, and Nanaimo's winning 4-2, just coming near the end of the second period. So another goaltender duel.
Excellent. And then there's another game later. Coquitlam,
Shamrocks and
Shamrocks, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Coquitlam Maple Ridge will be on shortly. There's 2 Sunday night games tonight. So
yeah, there's 2 games tonight.
Adanax Burrard, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And Adanax are still looking for their first win.
Yeah.
So I mean, right now the standings: Langley 7-1, New West 7-1, Nanaimo's 5-4. So seems like similar to last year, their schedule is kind of front loaded. So hopefully they're not going to be waiting around 2-3 weeks for everyone else to finish up. Uncertain.
Yeah, that kind of killed them last year, didn't it?
Yeah. It was. I think it was a little tough. They had to wait a couple of weeks last year, and then they got Coquitlam and polished them off pretty quick, and then had to wait while Victoria and Langley fought for. I think there were a 7-game series, and then so.
Well, that's the thing, because there's kind of. I was going to say, because there's kind of a bit of a drop from first and second down to third and fourth. Those teams, like we're talking about Maple Ridge and Burnaby, yet even at 2 wins. I mean, they're not out of it yet. They can still climb up there and catch Victoria and potentially Nanaimo as well. 4 wins and 5 wins.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can't disagree with that, because they've got maybe a game or 2 in hand too on Nanaimo. Yeah. Though that might maybe even out over the next couple of weeks, but and then you've got Coquitlam 0-7, unfortunately.
Yeah, unless they pick things up, I don't see them going very far.
So,
right.
But the big one again this week will be Langley, New Westminster, Thursday, and little edge in New Westminster's favor. That Langley will be playing home the night before against Victoria. So
it'll depend on how quickly you get Chris Dixon back in lineup with Langley too, with the Worlds going on.
You won't see him back until the following week, because
so he's probably going to be out of the lineup.
The gold medal game, right, or the bronze medal game for that.
Yeah, so he's going to be out of the lineup then. Yeah.
Right.
So you won't see him until the following week in there. So we'll see. So
it's going to be a rough week, yeah. And I mean, if New Westminster takes this game, they tie up the season series. They get the last, the rubber match at home. And
They're sitting alone in first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Langley playing the night before, they could open up a 2-game lead quickly this week. New Westminster does have a second game this week, but it's Friday at Burnaby. So, there's good chance that New Westminster can kind of take control, at the halfway point here.
Well, that brings us over to some of the MSL stuff. And hey, Pat's there. Yeah. Hey, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
How you doing?
Hey, Pat.
Thanks for joining with us. The first game was last Sunday, and that was Peterborough visiting Brampton. And unfortunately, Brampton couldn't make the game. Peterborough beat them 13-2. Now, to start this game, it looked like it was going to be a pretty good game. Josh Currier got the game going for Peterborough. Lucas Burra tied it up. Brampton actually took the lead 2-1 about halfway through the first period. Josh Currier ties it. DJ Clark gives them the lead. Again, Brampton, that was a penalty. Sorry. Brampton got their second goal with Tyler Ferreira, and it was 3-2 after one. Seemed like a pretty good game. Then Brampton had to go, and Peterborough just kept shooting away. Mitch Ogilvie, Austin Hazen, Tate Catoni, and Robert Hope all hit at once, one after the other. That was the first half of the second period, followed by Turner Evans, Josh Currier, and DJ Clark with his second. And we were off to the races. At this point, it was 10. The last couple of goals came with Turner Evans, Austin Hazen with a couple, with 3, and Tate Catoni joining in 2. Owen Hiltz also had a goal, just to add to good measure. 13-2 was your final score. That was a drubbing. That's Peterborough playing the most complete game they've played yet this year, which for every other team in the MSL, they need to take notice that this team has become serious. Because up until this point, they've been kind of distracted with the Sean Evans stuff and everything else that's going on. And now they're focused on what they're doing. Even goalie-wise, they had Hutchison and they didn't have Landon Kelson either. So look out. Six Nations, depleted as they are because a good chunk of them are with the Haudenosaunee team, squeaked by Brooklyn 9-8 in what was a very, very good game. Luke Pilcher opened the scoring on the power play for Brooklyn. Eric Fennell tied the game up, and that was it for the first period scoring. Parker Pfeiffer, Jack Travasos made it a 3-1 game for Brooklyn. Ben McIntosh got one back. Brady Kiernan and Luke Pilcher, and it was 5-2. Enter the Six Nation juggernaut. Ben McIntosh twice, once on the power play. Brad Cree with his first of the year. Brian Cole, and all of a sudden, Six Nations is up by a goal. Jacob Martino ties it up. Shane Jackson then starts his evening. And with 1 second left in the second, Jackson scores. And we have ourselves a 7-6 game after 2. Charlie Scanlon gets one for the Six Nations, get them rolling into the third. Power play goal by Shane Jackson. Not to be outdone, though, Brooklyn didn't give up. They kept pushing. Ryan Keenan got a power play goal about halfway through the period. Brady Kernan got a goal with just over 5 minutes to go. And it looked like maybe we'd have another one of those overtime finishes. But as it held, Six Nation was able to hold. And that was the end of that. Nick DeMood played sensational in that. Doug Jamieson also had a strong night, and he was able to stone Brooklyn once and for all to end that game. So Nations just gets by. We move to the Wednesday night game, and Coburg faces Brooklyn. Remember, Brooklyn had just played the night before. It didn't slow them down any because they beat the Kodiaks 12-7 at home. In this game, it was the Kodiaks that got off to a quick start with Curtis Conley and Scott Dominy scoring in transition only a couple of minutes into the game. Brooklyn then woke up. Corson Keeley, Ryan McCrory, Jack Boyden, and Brady Kernan all scored, and that was the end of the first. It was 4-2 for Brooklyn after one. Kyle Waters increased the lead, make it 5 with a power play goal. Brady Kernan, 6. Hunter Ag has finally stopped this 6-goal run with a power play marker for the Kodiaks. Trent Boyd and Scott Dominy traded goals. Kyle Waters had a couple more after that to increase Brooklyn's lead, followed by another part of their run with Brady Kiernan and Jack Boyden to end the second period with them up 11-4 and looking like they had this thing completely in control. Well, here comes the third period, and this was, for the most part, all Kodiaks. Bo Columbus, Tyler Hendricks, and Tanner Buck scored, and all of a sudden, we had ourselves an 11-7 game. Josh DeGury put out the fire there with 44 seconds left, and it was 12-7 for Brooklyn. They are your winners on this night. The Thursday night thing, we had 2 games. We had Brampton going against Coburg, Mike.
Yeah, so Brampton, survives survives a late charge. They pretty much had control of this through a good chunk of into the third period, but Coburg came back with a 5-goal run near the end. Wasn't quite enough. Brampton wins 10-9. Tanner Thompson had 2 and 2 for Brampton. Stephen Portelli had a goal and 3 assists. His goal was the game-winning goal. Lucas Nagy in net performing very well for the Excelsiors.
Mm-hmm.
For Coburg, he had Marshall Powless with a goal and 3 assists. Tanner Buck had 3 and 2. Aaron Woods had a hat trick. And I believe all those goals might have been in the third period as part of the big run. But also nice to see Lane Rushka in net for Coburg.
Definitely, and not to be outdone, in that last minute, they got 2 goals. So who knows, if they had another minute to play, who knows, Brampton might have dropped this one too.
Yeah. Even another 15, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
We'll tie it up. So,
but finishing, that's where they need to learn how to finish their games.
Yep.
That same night, of course, we had the marquee matchup, and that was Peterborough and Six Nations. However, of course, Six Nations was down a few guys towards it, and so actually was Peterborough, who've lost some of their players to Team Canada and Team USA. Looking through it, it was Peterborough sneaking by 9-8. Were there a lot of shots? Yes, there were 100 shots in this game. So there was plenty of firepower going around. Turner Evans was the one who had the night there for Peterborough. He opened a scoring on a power play. Sam Leclerc tied it up. Turner Evans got another goal in the first, followed by Brian Cole on the power play. So it was 2-2 after 1. Holden DeCatoni put Peterborough up ahead, but then Sam Leclerc and Ben McIntosh gave the lead on over 2 Nations, at this point being 4-3. However, here comes Peterborough with 5 goals to end the second and add another one in on the third, so a 6-goal run. Turner Evans, Carter Page, Jason Knox, Carter Page with another one, and Turner Evans with his third of the night. And at that point, we are 8-4 heading into the third period. Well, as all these games go, it seems. Peterborough got another goal with Jason Knox, making it 9-4. And all of a sudden, it was all Nations. Jackson had a hat trick in the third period. Only thing broke that up was a Mason Kaminga's power play goal with about 5 minutes left. But again, Peterborough was able to hang on. And, through the last 5 minutes of the game, Landon Kells in net this time. And they wound up pulling out the 9-8 victory, which I believe evens the season series. So interesting the way this one's going to go down to the wire. We had one more game this week, and that was this evening. And that was Brampton and Coburg in the rubber match in the, well, shall we say that Coburg got a little bit of revenge. They won 9-5 tonight. Brampton looked good out of the first, man. They scored the first 4 goals. Penn Eierstrat was the first one with a couple of goals in that first. James Whiteford and Henry Follows. Carson Moyer was the only scoring for the Kodiaks. The second period was exactly the opposite, where Coburg got 4 goals and Brampton could only muster 1. So we were all tied up going into the third, and in which this was all Kodiaks. In fact, the last 2 periods, it was 8-1 in favor of the Kodiaks. So kind of like that last Sunday game where Brampton started out well and then just fizzled away. That's kind of what happened in this game. They started out well and completely fizzled to nothing. So there's stuff that needs to be addressed there, and it's staying power. They have goal scorers. Interestingly enough, that tonight Lane Rusko was in net for Coburg, but Craig Wendy was in net for the Brampton squad. So they're tinkering around. They're trying to make things work. But I guess it's growing pains, really. Looking at the standings, you see Sick Nations is up 7 wins, 2 losses. Peterborough is right behind them, 6 wins, 2 losses. Brooklyn is at 3-3. Coburg is 2-6, and Brampton is sitting at 2-7. The goal differentials, that's what's going to be the difference in this thing, is that Brampton is a goal differential of -38, which is what will be keeping them in the basement for some time, I think, because both Coburg and Brooklyn are at a -5. So if we're coming down to that, that doesn't stand a chance. Not unless one of them just takes off and goes home. Midway through.
Yeah, and I was going to say it doesn't get any easier for Brampton. I mean, they play tonight, and then there's only two other games this week, I think, and they're involved in both of them. They've got to play at Brooklyn and then at Peterborough on consecutive nights. So
yeah, and neither of them's going to be an easy game.
Yeah. So they could very well be looking at heading into the 4th of July holiday at 2-9. So,
by the way, they play on the 4th of July too.
Oh boy,
they play Six Nations.
Oh
jeez, to the fun. So it's a Brampton week.
Yeah,
from hell for them.
Yeah. A rough stretch. Yeah. So, but we'll see how they can respond. So, because right now it's looking like they'll be fighting with Coburg for maybe the final playoff spot.
Well, I don't see really any surprises in the MSL standings or in the MSL way it goes. You've got Peterborough and you've got Six Nations running away with it, and then you have everybody else. And that's the way it's been for quite some time. I'm hoping that changes once Oakville comes back and maybe Owen Sound comes in, and maybe things just spread out a little bit, and we'll see. And then Brampton can get another year in and get a little more drafting and try and get their feet firmly on the ground for 60 minutes, not 40, not 20, and get a whole game out of them. And that should be interesting for everybody to watch at that stage. In the WLA, guys, you see anything that is out of the norm?
Not overly, I don't think. It's kind of a similar situation. You've got New West and Langley kind of running away with it in first and second. Then you got the rest of the pack. I think we talked about that next. They're winless, and I think what you're kind of seeing with last year, where there's not much defense, and they really last year relied on Christian Del Bianco. Now we're kind of seeing what that happens now when you don't have an all. And I don't want to make any disrespect to their current goaltending situation, but when you have an all-world goaltender like Christian Del Bianco, you see the difference.
Absolutely.
When you really rely on that.
Absolutely, but we made mention of that many times last year. The Del Bianco factor, facing 60 or 70 shots, and was there anybody in defense, or were they just fielding 3 players on? And this year, exactly like you said, we're seeing the results when he's not there. So, the Shamrocks are another puzzling one. Yes, they're in a rebuild, but they do have a lot of really good players. They're just missing. So, if they can just kind of re-aim a little bit, Maybe we're talking about the 10-9 victory instead of the 10-9 defeat. Soon. It better be sooner than later.
Yeah, I was going to say that missing is definitely giving teams like Maple Ridge and Burnaby a little bit of hope, though.
Yeah.
That maybe they can sneak in as a 4 seed.
And like Mike talked about, I think Maple Ridge isn't far off. I mean, I think they've got the pieces. They just need to put it all together now.
Right. Definitely. All right, guys. Well, let's say we got a big week ahead of us in World Lacrosse. Lots of great stuff to catch. Lots of great games, and still standings to be determined. I say the Canada Haudenosaunee game would have just started about a minute or two ago. So if you have an option to get to ESPN or TSN, go at it and be watching it, because it's going to be some incredible lacrosse over the next couple of hours. Again, not busy weeks for WLA and MSL. The OSL is about ready to get into playoffs. So it's the same thing with the OJLL. They're just finishing up their season 2. So pretty soon we're going to be talking about the big playoff things and who's going to be headed to Minto Cup and Man Cup interests as well. So things are going to start getting a little bit more tense, shall we say. Will anybody give Warrenville a loss this year?
Yeah, I was going to say it's the same thing with the BC junior days, right? They've only got a few games left in their season, and it seems like at least the Coquitlam junior team's looking pretty good and running away with that one a little bit in first.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nick Rose could probably win Executive of the Year now with the GM of Warrensville.
Yeah.
Can't win a Goalie of the Year, but he's going to win Executive of the Year. Should have won both, but hey, what can you do? Anyways, just to remind everybody, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, and we are on YouTube, as well as www.eopsports.com/lacrosse for anything and everything to do with lacrosse. Come back to us 3, 4, 5 times a day. The news is always changing, and we do have our thumbs on the pulse of the situation. We are up to date with everything: news, reviews, interviews, recaps, and anything else that you can think of lacrosse related. If you want to catch any of our library shows, head on over to our YouTube page, where there is also interviews and a few other things and tidbits and some fisticuffs and some other stuff that's in there. So feel free to roam around there. Coming again, as I am able to transfer games from VHS onto stick that I can put them up, we will have some of the old mill games up there as well. So there should be a whole huge library coming in the near future of anything and everything to do with lacrosse, past, present, and future. I think that's about it for this week, guys. Again, I want to thank everybody for being with us, as they are every single week here in our comfortable time slot of 9 p.m. Eastern. It seems like we have a few weeks before we have to start shifting around again. So, knock on wood. I don't have any foreseen trips ahead of me, so that's good. I will be staying in this particular location, unless I win a lottery and go back. But Shawn soon will be going to the Worlds. When is that, Shawn?
That's the beginning of August here. I don't have the dates right in front of me, unfortunately, but just going to get a calendar up.
And they are where? Where are they being held?
That's in Saskatoon at the SaskTel Center.
Awesome.
Yeah, so real looking forward to that. Yeah, it should be some good lacrosse, and even some juniors there. There's some nations starting to catch up with the Haudenosaunee, U.S. and Canada, so it should be good.
Yeah, it's always great to watch junior because, for one, the games are amazingly quick, and two, all the talent that is just on the cusp of doing something really great. So it's really wonderful to watch, and watching at the world level, that's going to be just amazing. So yeah, Phyllis, but it's your turn.
Yeah. I don't have to go all the way across the country for
well, yeah. Yeah, well, I always get my Pearson horror stories out of the thing. So it is what it is, right? When you're at the mercy of somebody who's going to fly a plane, they can do what they want to do. Just get me up and get me down, and let me. It's funny though, because you think you're being robbed on the ground. Wait till you try and look for a drink in the air. When you have to sign mortgage papers, you know that you're in deep.
Yeah.
Anyways, for Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, any last words?
Just looking forward to Worlds moving into the knockout rounds and seeing how things shape up in WLA MSL.
And over in Moose Jaw, Shawn, any last words?
Yeah, same thing. Looking forward to the Worlds and that big game of the WLA this week on Thursday night. That should be a good one between the Salmon Bellies and the Thunder.
Definitely, and I'm definitely keeping my eye on a number of different things in the Worlds there, as well as some of the nations that don't make the news all the time, because I really saw a couple of really great players along the way, and and got some of the backstories behind them, and it really is cool to see where these people come from. And it's not like they were, here they had a stick in their hand when they were 5 years old. Some of these guys didn't even figure out the game or heard of the game until they were, early teens. And to see their athletic abilities and just the camaraderie on these teams is amazing. But like I say, it is a first class run tournament. World Lacrosse should be commended on every aspect of it. They're doing a bang up job, and there are people at the ready to try and fix or help or do things all the way through. So they seem to have, an answer for just about anything, and when they don't, they have people around to get it. So it's been a pleasure working with them on all of this, and I look forward to doing a lot more with them in the coming future. So anyways, for the boys here and for myself, we want to thank you again, as always, to coming aboard and sticking with us for an hour and a half weekly, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, everybody have a great week. Remember, catch all those games because they are going to be awesome.